Yeah, I want to give some thoughts and commentary on something I didn't get to do when it happened, which is the life and legacy of Nipsey Hussle. He was tragically killed about 2 weeks ago. I just want to talk about what sort of he meant and what he meant, those type of people mean to the grander scheme of things. First of all, let me say that I knew who Nipsey Hussle was. I had heard of his music. I listened to some of his music, but not as in depth as I have since he passed away. I've have all his albums on Spotify, on my Spotify playlist, and I've been listening to it constantly. A lot of his songs I've been listening to in the gym. Really great workout. A lot of energy, a lot of passion, and that's what I really want to say is because, you might not know somebody intimately, but you have to be able to see who appreciates them, right? And when he passed away, you saw all of these people that I respect, all some of the OGs in the game, Master P, some of the dudes from the South, the OGs from the South, and some of the West Coast dudes, Snoop and some of the guys like that, and they really loved him. They really admired him as somebody who was similar to them in terms of he had an old school mentality. He was a street guy. He was, he wasn't a studio guy. He wasn't a fake. He was a real what he was trying to represent. And his passion, his passion to help his people and help his community. So I think it's tragic how he passed away, and it's the lyric from Bob Marley always comes to mind at times like this. It's like, how long shall they kill our prophets, right? How long shall they kill our prophets? Because they tried to kill Bob Marley, right? They killed him eventually, but they tried to shoot him in Kingston, right? So he was home. They went to his house and they shot up his house, and he got hit. This was the political rivals trying to kill him, right? He went on stage, survived the gunshots. Against doctor's orders, he had a concert. A few days later, he went on stage and he brought the political parties together in a powerful symbol of peace and unity, right? Tupac Shakur, right? So he died from violence. He should have never been in that situation. He should have never been in that situation, and he should have separated himself from that, right? So that's the thing about trying to uplift people and help your community, but still being there. I know it's an honorable thing to be with your people and to be with in the place that you grew up and to rep your hood and to rep your set, but there's things out there, there's evil, there's jealousy, there's hatred, right next to you, right in your community. The things that you're trying to eliminate are all around you, right? So it's like, it can get to you. Nipsey was killed because of jealousy, because of hatred, right? Because somebody wasn't able to be who they wanted to be. So they looked at him and said, I'm gonna take what you have because I'm better than you. So they took his life, right? And sometimes you gotta help from the center, you gotta be in it to help. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit removed, you know what I mean? So it's like, you gotta remove yourself, I guess, what I'm trying to say sometimes is that you gotta remove yourself from the thing that you're trying to save. It's like when you're taught life saving, as a lifesaver or a lifeguard. One of the things they tell you is that never jump in and try to save somebody that's drowning, because they're gonna fight, they're panicking, they're just gonna take you down with them, right? So the best thing to do is give them a flotation device, throw something to them they can hold onto, and they can float. And then that's when you can go, when they've calmed down, that's when you can go and rescue them. But it's like the worst thing you can do is jump in when somebody's panicking, when they're drowning, jump in and try to grab them and try to save them, because both of you are gonna drown, right? So that's what happened with Nipsey. He was trying to rescue his community from certain things, poverty, violence, lack of self-esteem and lack of empowerment, all of these things that plague minority and communities and poor communities and immigrant communities and communities of people of color and working class communities. These are the things that plague these communities everywhere, right? So he was trying to save, and he got destroyed by the same thing he was trying to save them from, themselves. He was destroyed by that. So, it's sad to see a true soldier in the game, somebody who represented not just the art correctly in terms of bringing that poetry and that realism to it. And it's not about pop music and not about, no, it's poetry, Rap, hip hop is poetry. It is street poetry. It is the story about people and how they live. Right? It is not about chewing bubble gum and wearing makeup and all of these materialistic cosmetic things that these so-called rappers do nowadays. So I think Nips, that's what I appreciate most about him, his passion for the game, for the music, to be true as an artist, to tell the stories about people that don't have a chance to tell their stories, just like Bob Marley did, just like Tupac Shakur did, right? And he was prolific, and he didn't rest. His work, you know what I mean. So one of his philosophies is the marathon. The marathon continues because he was always running. He was always. It's not a sprint. Life is not a sprint. It's a marathon, man. You know what I mean. And what it is just he just passed it, because it's like Tupac said, man. It's like I know I'm not gonna live forever, but my goal is to spark the fire in the next generation. And that fire is going to change the world. My job is not to change the world. My job is to inspire the person that will, right? And that's your job sometimes. It's not to do the heavy lifting, not to do the work, not to make it to the promised land. Like Moses, like Martin Luther King, like Bob Marley, like Tupac, right? These guys were leaders, were revolutionaries. They took their people to a certain place, and because of their death, their legacy and their legend became even more, because it became their path, their journey, their story in life became even more. Even death couldn't stop them. It even made them stronger. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to say to Nipsey. And it's not about who he was. They didn't kill him in that parking lot. No, he didn't die in that parking lot. They freed him. They freed his spirit. They freed his soul. And now so many people are going to be inspired by his life. I was just reading an article this morning. The family is stopping the crowdsourcing funding to help the family because they already got money. Nipsey already planned his estate, that if anything happened to me, he has trust funds set up for his kids. He owns all his masters. He's got property and land and businesses. All that is left for the kids and his wife. Genius, man. Even in death, the man was a man amongst men. So to Nipsey, man, what I want to tell you is that thanks for being real. Thanks for being an old school dude and reminding me and others in my generation and younger generation what it is to be a rapper that spoke about something, that meant something, that cared about something, that was gonna lift his people and carry them somewhere else, someplace better. Thank you for that. Thank you for being you and being a G and being a gangster in a sense that if your mind, not in what you do, but just being that passionate, you know, having that gangster mentality. Not just in your music, but also in your business, in your life, in your art, in your culture, in your people. Even in death, you're a G, right? And, you know, we're gonna learn from you. We're gonna carry on. The marathon continues. You know, I certainly have learned from you. Now I'm listening to your poetry a lot more. I'm studying your work. I'm studying your music. So you didn't die, man. You became immortal. So that's what I gotta say about that. You know, I kind of feel the same way when, you know, I never got to see Bob Marley in person. He died in '81, a little bit after I was born. Tupac died. I still remember that. I'm a very big Tupac fan. He means the world to me. He's one of my biggest inspirations. I listen to his music all the time. I think he's a poet, not just a rapper. He's the greatest contemporary poet of our generation. And then with Nipsey, you know, he died for something, man. And you can tell that the people loved you when you passed away. Just the disbelief, the pain, the sorrow, the sadness, and then at the end of it, it's just a celebration of your life, man. So to Nipsey Hussle and to all the young soldiers out there doing it the right way, making the right moves, you know what I mean? They can't hold you down. They can't stop you, man. All right? The marathon continues. Peace out.